Welcome back to Thunder Insider. Well, there is one person who can offer some unique perspective on these three players and what they've meant to the community and the organization. General Manager Sam Presti sat down with our very own Matt Pinto to offer some insight into these three guys and how they've built the foundation for the Thunder going forward.
So you know these guys really well. Tell us something maybe about each that we wouldn't know that you do that you feel like it might be valuable to share.
You know, I think Nick is somebody, as I said, you know, he's a guy that sees things for what they are. I think he's got a great mind for the game. I think that he's also somebody that understands what winning's supposed to look like. I think he's pretty hard on himself, maybe sometimes too much, about meeting, you know, the standard of perfection that I think he's been building through his basketball career. Russell, I think one of the things, in addition to having a great sense of humor, he's got a great internal discipline about his work habits. He's early to everything. His approach is very consistent. It's very regimented. He has the habits of a high performer, and he has since college. And, you know, I think those things are, you know, to be admired. And Kevin, I think one of the things that I think about with Kevin is it's not easy being Kevin Durant. There's a lot of things coming at him. He has to deal with so many things as a result of this tremendous talent that he's helped maximize through his work ethic and focus and concentration over a period of years. But he handles it with tremendous grace and awareness. And I don't think that's an easy thing to do. And I have a lot of respect for his ability to be a part of the team, be invested in the community, to see the big picture and understand how important his humility and approach is to the success of this organization. That is the best way to provide some kind of insight to those three guys.
And this organization has an amazing connection with the community. There's something special that's been cultivated over time. How do you feel like the state, the community sort of sync up with what those three guys stand with in establishing, or stand for in establishing that?
Well, I think, as I said before, you know, the core values of our team and our organization are, you know, parallel to those of the state and city that we represent on a daily basis. So having three players like Kevin, Russell, and Nick that personify those values, I think there's a pretty easy connection and an association because, you know, in their own ways, I think they represent Oklahomans. Probably the number one way in my mind, and when I think through it, is, you know, the state motto is labor conquers all things in Oklahoma. And when I think about those three guys, you know, I feel like somewhere embedded, you know, in their DNA is that motto. They all come from different places. They have different backgrounds. But I think there's definitely a commonality of daily work processes, you know, versus the outcome in itself that all kind of align those guys.
Kevin made the statement that even though there was losing that went on for him early in gaining a foothold on what the organization was going to be about, that he had not just hope, but he knew at some point there would be success based on the habits that were being established and the daily practices. Was there any point where you observed the three of them and sort of had that sense as well?
Well, I think, you know, we've always kind of focused on the incremental gains that take place through a season, or through a series of seasons, rather. And I don't know if I could define it to one specific thing, other than to say that we had a lot of faith in the character of the group that we had in place, the philosophy of controlling what we can control on a daily basis, and I think the ability to kind of stick together as the team went through that growing period. If I had to think about one moment, probably it wouldn't be a win specifically or a breakthrough concept. It would be the year we lost in Utah, and Kevin had gotten fouled, but the officials missed the foul call. And I think there was a lot of opportunity there to probably take our attention off the fact that we were playing Denver the following night. but just his response in the moment of moving on and not making any excuses, because there were plenty of other opportunities for us to win that ball game, and at the end it shouldn't come down to that, until a referee having to make a call. And just a universal approach of the guys to be able to follow his lead and his handling that situation and move on, because we had to play a big game against another division team the following night against Denver.
How do you feel like their successes individually parallel the success of the organization, and vice versa?
Well, we understand that we're not in this position as an organization without those three guys as foundational players and stakeholders in building a culture. I think there's a big difference between a winning culture and a culture where you can win. And before we were able to win games on a consistent basis, there had to be an environment that was in place that could allow us to do that, that could hold us accountable to the standards that we espouse to. And those three guys were obviously incredibly pivotal in setting that, but also cherish the responsibility of trying to maintain that, which can be a lot more challenging.